Hello, I'm Dan Carmichael. I'm the minister at Lenzie Union Church, and welcome to our Easter experience. Easter for Christians is the most important, the most exciting time of the year as we remember Jesus dying on the cross and then rising again on Easter morning. What you're about to watch for the next 20 minutes is 9 people from Lenzie Union Church, and they'll be dressed up as characters from the first Easter, people who Jesus would have met around the time he died and rose again. What they'll say is based on the Bible, from one of the books of the Bible about Jesus, written by a man called Mark. We're going to begin on a Sunday, the Sunday that Jesus came into Jerusalem a week before the first Easter day, and it's called Palm Sunday, and we're going to find out why.
Look at my cloak, and look at those dirty marks. 4 of them. That must have been from the hoofs of the donkey that walked across my best cloak, but I don't care. My next door neighbour has donkeys, and they're tied up outside munching away at the hay. They've got lovely cute faces, especially the little one. On a Sunday morning, I get up early to do the housework and to do my shopping at the end of our weekend. But when I opened my door, I saw 2 men untying the donkey. I shouted at them, "Stop that! What do you think you're doing?" "It's for the Lord," they said, "and we'll bring it back soon." A strange answer, I thought to myself. Their accent wasn't from here, it was from up north. Galilee, I think. Well, I wasn't going to let them go away with that beautiful donkey, so I followed them through the streets to where a crowd was gathering, and they were all looking at this one man. He was up on the donkey, and people were throwing their cloaks down on the ground for the donkey to walk across, just like a king with a red carpet. They were calling him Jesus, or the Lord, but he wasn't posh. He was the most trustworthy man I have ever seen. They were then heading for the city centre, and I wanted to go too. When we got there, lots of other people joined, and we had a celebration. We all wanted to see Jesus. We were taking palm branches off the trees, and we were waving them, and we were shouting praise to God. Hosanna, Hosanna. He is the most trustworthy man I have ever seen.
Jesus, I've absolutely had it up me here with this Jesus. So Jesus comes into the temple as though he owns the place. I mean, who actually owns the temple? Well, apart from God, that is. To let you understand, I make my money at the temple. Knowing your holy of holy bits. I run my business in the courtyard. Lots of us do. It works like this. You get your religious type who like to pray. And at special times of the year, where's better to pray than the temple in Jerusalem? But your temple doesn't come cheap. The priests need their wages, and the temple needs paid for. That's why you pay your temple tax. And that's where I come in. There's no use you coming over here for Egypt and Greece with your local money. This doesn't work that way. Temple tax has to be paid in local money. So you pay me your coins, I give you the local coins, and the right coins that is, and there's always a wee bit extra for me. We've done it for years that way. Except for today. Except Jesus put his hands under my table and toppled over, crashed the coins went flying down, rolling everywhere. He looked up at us and he spoke the Bible to us. My house was designated as a house of prayer, and you've turned it into a hangout for thieves. You think Jesus owned the place? I've had it up to here with this Jesus.
Jesus is genuine. This is my honest opinion. I gathered my evidence from questioning him myself, and I listened to his answers. So I have concluded that what Jesus teaches about God is true. Jesus can be trusted. My qualification is that I've been a teacher of the law for over 60 years. There are 613 laws in the Bible. All of them help us to serve God, and I've studied each one in detail. So I asked Jesus, which law is the most important? This was his answer. The first in importance is the Lord your God is one. So love the Lord your God with all your passion and prayer and energy. And here is the second. Love others as well as you love yourself. I looked at him and said, "What a wonderful answer, teacher." And it is a wonderful answer. Jesus is genuine. Many disagree with me, but this is my opinion. You can trust Jesus.
Jesus is the best. The best things come from God, and I'm totally sure that Jesus is from God. When Jesus is in a place, it's like God is in that place. When Jesus teaches, it's like God is teaching us. And when Jesus cares, it's like God is caring for us. When Jesus does his miracles, it's like God is right here. Jesus is a complete one-off. There's no one like him. Not now, not ever. Jesus is the best, and he deserves the best. The best thing I ever had was a jar of perfume. I know the jar looks small, but the perfume was made from a plant that came all the way from India. Someone gave it to me, and I know it cost a lot of money. I'd have to work for a whole year to pay for it. That perfume was the best thing I had, and I wanted to give the best to Jesus. So, about 3 nights ago, there was a special meal and Jesus was there. And when I saw him kneeling down to wash his feet just before the start of the meal, I took the jar, pulled off the top, and gently poured the perfume all over Jesus' head. The smell was beautiful, and it filled the whole house. Some of the others there told me off and said it was a huge waste. But Jesus knew and understood why I did it, and he thanked me. Jesus is the best, and Jesus deserves the best.
Jesus, I've been thinking about him. I remember every detail of the last meal that we ate together with him. I remember the cold, hard stone steps under my feet as we climbed the outside stairs to that upper room. I remember the sound of the wooden door creaking open as Jesus invited the other disciples and me inside. I remember the puzzled look on our faces as we wondered what was going to happen next. I remember the smell of the lamb cooking on the fire for our Passover meal. And I remember us all gathered around the table. But most of all, I remember what Jesus did. I remember Jesus reach out his hand for the bread and give thanks in the usual way. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the world, who brings forth bread from the earth. I remember Jesus breaking the bread like this. I remember Jesus' words as he held the broken bread. This is my body. I remember Jesus reach his hand out for the cup and give thanks again in the usual way. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the world, creator of the fruit of the vine. I remember what Jesus said as he passed the cup to us. This is my blood. Yes, I remember. Jesus, we will remember you.
Jesus called me Peter because it means rock. He thought I could be solid and dependable. But that day, I was more like sand. Jesus was in danger, and so was I. That's the only way I can think that I did what I did. There were guards everywhere. They'd arrested Jesus and taken him inside to question him, trying to catch him out. Jesus was inside and alone. I wanted to be near him, but I opted out. I stood in the courtyard outside. It was cold and I was shivery, so I edged in to the fire to keep warm. Inside, Jesus was getting lots of hard questions. But I only got the one easy question. A girl who worked in that place came from up north and she heard me speak, and she thought I maybe came from the same place as Jesus. And so she asked me if I knew Jesus. 3 times she asked me. It was an easy question. Of course it was. Of course I knew Jesus. For 3 years, Jesus had been my best friend. But I lied. I said that I'd never known him. I was so afraid that I'd be arrested, like Jesus. 3 times I lied. The 3rd time I said, I don't know who you're talking about. The cockerel crowed. And I remembered that Jesus said that I would pretend that I'd never met him. And I cried. I cried and I cried. And Jesus went on alone, without me.
Jesus was going to cause trouble, maybe even a riot. I couldn't be sure about all the details, but I was certain that Jesus was a threat to peace in Jerusalem. That's why I did what I did. What choice did I have? Pontius Pilate, Roman protector of Judea. My job is to keep this bit of the Roman Empire calm, to stop riots before they even start. And it has not been an easy time, I can tell you. This situation a fine example. We had this rather nasty guy in prison, Barabbas by name. He was involved in a brutal uprising against us Romans. And we also held Jesus. Jesus seemed pretty honest to me, but he'd upset the religious leaders, and so they'd sent him to me. And there was talk also of Jesus being some kind of king, and that sort of talk keeps me awake at night. As I'm telling you, there can only be one king, and he's Tiberius, our emperor in Rome. Anyway, I always release a prisoner at Passover time. It makes me look caring, as if I have a heart. More importantly, it keeps the crowds calm. And so I offered to release either Barabbas or Jesus, and the crowd shouted for Barabbas. That settled it. There was nothing else I could do. My hands were tied. and so I sentenced Jesus to death. I had to. I'm not sure he had actually done anything wrong. But what else could I do? Jesus was going to cause trouble.
Jesus, I've changed my mind about him. When Jesus was sentenced to die, I was on duty with my squad of 100 soldiers. I didn't give him a second glance. Just another troublemaker to deal with. I'd done this hundreds of times. Escort the prisoner to Golgotha, the skull-shaped hill outside the city. Nail him to a wooden cross. Wait for hours. Make sure he actually dies. Make sure there's no fuss. I know I sound hard and unfeeling. It's what this job does to you. I've served all over with the Roman army and seen horrendous things, but I do care and I do notice things. The more I watched Jesus, the more something seemed so deep down good in him, otherworldly perhaps. I wanted to help him, so I picked out a man from the crowd to carry his cross for him on the way to the hill. When we pulled the cross upright on the hill, the sky turned dark, and I looked to Jesus again, and I listened. He called out to God. He seemed so close to God, like a son crying out to his dad. In my life's army service all over the empire, I have never heard or seen anything like it. Before I knew it, my mouth was speaking what my head and my heart were telling me. Surely this man was the Son of God. After it was over, some of the lads told me about a curtain in the temple. They say it's like a barrier between God and the people, because God is perfect and the people are not like God. Well, the lads reported that at the moment Jesus died, the curtain suddenly ripped from top to bottom. As I watched Jesus die, it seemed like he had ripped open the barrier between God and us. Like a son bringing people to meet his dad.
Jesus was. No, Jesus is alive. It's so hard to get my head round this. Jesus did die, but Jesus is alive. I know Jesus died. I was there beside his cross. I heard his last breath, and I cried and cried for the man that he was. Other people had abandoned me, but Jesus welcomed me. In every word he spoke, in everything he did, Jesus lived out God's love to me and to thousands of others. But I know Jesus is alive. I am trembling with fear, but I know it's true. I can't explain it. No human being can. It is a mystery. It is a miracle. But I can tell you, I was the first person there on Easter morning. I was with the others at his grave. I carried spices to care for his body. I saw that the massive stone covering the grave was already moved away. I can tell you that I did not see his body because his body had gone. I can tell you that I saw an angel at the grave, and I can tell you what he said to us. Don't be afraid. I know you're looking for Jesus, the one they nailed on the cross. He has been raised up. He's here no longer. Go tell his disciples. And I can tell you for sure, Jesus is alive.